Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and I want to welcome you back to another edition of your Adrenal Fix. Tonight I want to talk to you about why your doctor and you haven't fixed your adrenal fatigue yet. And you won't until you understand this very important lesson. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because I had a patient come in to see me the other day, and she just asked me sincerely, tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me about how you started with this. How did you get into this area? You seem to know a lot about this, and why are you so passionate about what you do? And so I told her my story, and then I realized, you know what? That's the reason why most people, like myself included, hadn't fixed the adrenal fatigue, because I was dealing with my own adrenal fatigue. And many of you know that about me, but a lot of you don't know that. And so I was dealing with over $150,000 of student loan. I was dealing with a newly, a pregnant wife of twins who had to go on bed rest at 20 weeks, and we almost lost the twins. A new injury, a new graduation, a move to a different state, let alone a different country, and starting off my own practice. And I was overwhelmed, and I was exhausted, and I had brain fog. And looking back, it went back years and years and years to poorly balanced blood sugar, to really poorly managed nutrition, from missing breakfast to skipping meals, to overtraining in the gym, to having anxiety and brain fog and crashing in the middle of the day, to no matter how long you sleep, waking up and not being able to get your engines going or revving. And here I was, $150,000 worth of student debt. Thank goodness a wife that had beautiful twins. And I just like, how am I going to support this family of mine? So I looked at a book a friend of mine brought in, and it was a book called, a thyroid book, and it was called Why Do I Have Thyroid Symptoms Even Though My Blood Tests Are Normal? And I was like, I don't need this book. I don't have thyroid problems. So I say to everyone, I let that book sort of sit on my shelf for probably a good 6 months. And I was just grinding like you are, running in the red, just pushing through, grinding, running on fumes, and just exhausted. And so I finally picked up the book, and lo and behold, it had a picture of me under the adrenal section. And I don't know how they took my picture, but the definition of the adrenal fatigue was an epiphany. It was like a light bulb moment. And I realized, oh my goodness, I have this. I had 2 undergraduate degrees, a degree in exercise physiology, a degree in psychology. I had my doctorate degree, and here I was, and I never even heard of this thing. And I was like, I can't believe this. How have I not heard about this? And so it just sort of lit a lifelong fuel to solve this mystery. And all I see on this form is it really fixable? Doctors don't say it's real. I don't really think you truly get better, and you do. You really do, but you have to do all the pieces of the puzzle together, and it's really what I've come to, and it's my life work, and it's now come to be a 360 degree turn in terms of I've gone full circle. When I first started out, I was pissed off. Sorry to use the language, but I was really upset that why on earth haven't I heard about this, and why on earth is no one telling me about this, and why on earth are doctors telling me it's not even real, and why on earth what, I can't get better, and what the heck. And so that started my lifelong passion. And then I delved into the science. I looked into the genetics. I looked into the testing. And I'm like Forrest Gump now. And everything I eat, do, and breathe is shrimp this, shrimp that. It's all about adrenals for me. It's all about researching and really, going into Hans Selye. And he's the godfather of stress theories. Dr. Wilson's book. That's a good starting point. Dr. Lamb has a good book out there. Dr. Christensen has an Adrenal Reset Diet book, but they're all missing the mark. They are all missing the mark. And I'm going to share with you why and how my epiphany started. So it all starts with the adrenals. So the most important question I have is, how do I, not important, the most common question I have is, how do I fix the adrenals? What's the best supplement to take? That's the most common question I get. Or what does my thyroid have to do with all of this? Is it the thyroid or is it the adrenals? Or even just hormones? I'm on bioidentical hormones, and my doctor hasn't looked at my adrenals yet, and I know it's the missing link into the system, and I really need to look at the adrenals now. So I've been doing hydrocortisone, I've been doing antidepressants, I've been doing gut cleanses and liver detox and leaky gut protocols and the autoimmune diet, but no one's worked on my adrenals. So what am I supposed to do about my adrenals? And that's the most common question that I get. And so what I want to tell you is this is the organ level. And I'm going to circle that because it's really important. This is where medicine has it wrong, in terms of even specialties have it wrong, because what do? Is you have all of these specialists. You have an endocrinologist that work on your hormones, and then you have the immune system, and then you have like the gastro system, and then you have, say, the respiratory system, and then the cardiovascular system, and then the nervous system. And you have all these subspecialties, and all these specialists don't talk to each other, and you gotta beg for them to talk to the other guys and say, oh, that's not my line of work, you gotta go see the endocrinologist. Oh, that's not my line of work, you gotta go see the guy. Oh, that's not my line of work. Guess what? The body talks to itself, even if the specialists don't, and that's called a system. And system is downstream from the organ level. And when we talk about the system, let's say I get stressed out. That's processed by my brain first. And it sends a nervous system impulse. And that's adrenaline. And that works with neurotransmitters. And that goes to my adrenals, and my adrenals release adrenaline. And that causes a whole fight or flight response. And then shortly thereafter, my hypothalamus, my pituitary, my adrenals, they start working in there. And next thing you know, I start releasing cortisol. And that causes catabolism and breakdown of sugar, and it causes inflammatory cascades to happen. It shunts blood away from the midsection to the working muscles. And it has to basically shift you back into gear. It impacts your gut health. It impacts your liver. I mean, all of these systems, which I've said a lot of times, work in an orchestrated manner. They really do. And if you're not looking at the systems, then you don't need to know what's the best supplement. Or is it the thyroid first? Or should I take bioidentical hormones? Or should I do an immune program? Or should I do a liver detox? Because you need to learn how the systems work together. But there's really, really key things that are missing. So what is upstream from that is the tissues. I mean, we all know that when you have a bunch of cells that come together, they form tissues, and tissues come together and they form organs, and then organs come together and they form systems. So really it comes down to keep working your way upstream till finally we get to the cell. And when we get to the cell, we're really talking about mitochondrial function. And so part of my mission is to redefine this illness and tell you that it's a mitochondrial dysfunction or a mitochondrial fatigue versus an adrenal fatigue. And there's a lot of papers out there. It's really called cell danger. And when we're overwhelmed with toxins and chemicals and pesticides and residues and metals and antibiotics and crazy amounts of pollutants in the environment, plus a ruinous lifestyle, plus not keeping hydrated, and just the quality of the food in today's day and age sucks. It does. There's not a lot of minerals in the foods that you're eating. It's all packaged. It's not real. It's synthetic, and there's synthetic crap in your supplements as well, and that's not getting you better. And it really comes down to the health of the cell. And when you're not getting quality nutrients into your cells, food is really magic. If you get good food, it can really fix a lot of these things. And there's a lot of politics involved because insurance companies and pharmaceutical industries and people that are in the gazillion-dollar business, they really don't stand to benefit with getting healthy. But here's where the difference is on why you haven't fixed it yet. So I always ask people, we've talked about systems, and systems are the downstream mechanisms. And then we talk about the organ level. And then we talk about the tissue level. Then we talk about the cell level. If I were to ask you, what is upstream? So this is upstream from that. This is upstream from that. And the cells are upstream for the tissues. For all of you that are paying attention, and I want you to write in the box what you think is upstream from the cells, because this is a big aha moment for you guys. And I'll tell you a real big story on this, on how I came to learn about this. So I was really a kid from a family, really successful doctors, and I was the black sheep of the family. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I loved to play sports. I went to university, didn't really ever try, got into exercise physiology because it was sports. And it was about just kind of getting by, and I didn't really care about what I wanted to do. And that came back and bit me in the ass, excuse the language, because when I finally started to try in my third year, it's like, holy crap, I better start doing well here. I got to get a good GPA if I want to do something. So what happened was I graduated, did well my last 2 years, played for the varsity soccer team, had fun, was about socializing and going to probably one too many pubs, and really wasn't focused in on what I wanted to do. And I graduated in exercise physiology. It was an honors degree, but I never really tried at all. I never tried. And I was like, okay, now I'm graduated. What am I going to do here? And so I was working as a trainer, and I enjoyed exercise, physical exercise and training and getting people healthy. And wouldn't you know it, I hurt my back. And when I hurt my back, they wanted me to have surgery, and they wanted me to, that was totally against my philosophy. I was a total holistic guy, and then I went to physical therapy, and I knew more than the physical therapist did about exercise rehab. And so from there, I decided I wanted to become a chiropractor. And it was at that point I was like, okay, I gotta go try to get into the Canadian Chiropractic Memorial School, and you need to have really good GPA, and so my last 2 years really ended up biting me in the butt, and my GPA didn't allow me to get in. I think 3,000 people, 4,000 people apply, and they only accept about 150. And from my state or my province, 75 are allowed, and of those 4,000, probably about 2,500, 3,000 apply. So 3,000 apply, 75 get in. I'm not getting in with my crappy GPA. So I went back to school, and I got a degree in psychology. I went back to school. I got a degree in psychology because I really, really loved it. I did well in my last 2 years, was all Dean's Honor Roll. School was easy when you tried. It was amazing about that. It was like an epiphany. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine how easy this is when you actually do the work. And that's what life is. It was a lesson. When you do the work, it's a lot easier than when you don't do the work. In fact, a lot of people work really hard to try to beat the system, and the system is set up for you to beat the system when you work within the system, and it's a lot easier. And that's an important lesson. So I applied back to the chiropractic college, and I was really excited. I was like, okay, I got my GPA up, and I didn't get in again. It was like 2 years that I felt like I wasted. And I really should have read the fine print, because the fine print said that when you go back to school, if it's not full time and it's part-time studies, it doesn't count towards your GPA. And I'm like, great. Here I am going back to school, and I had to work. At this point, I needed to, survive and keep my head above water and pay my bills. So I was working. I was working full time and going to school part time, and so they didn't deem my GPA as an improvement because it wasn't considered full time studies. Like, great, like what a waste. I just got this psychology degree and it was a big waste of time. So I ended up going to school in the States, and I had to go back and take their prerequisites. The Canadian college didn't require you to have a degree. You just needed to, didn't require you to have the biochemistry and the organic chemistry and the physiology. They wanted an eclectic base of students, meaning they wanted people with, diverse backgrounds, music degrees, English degrees, art history degrees, but you didn't need to have science. So I didn't get in. So I applied to the US, and on the flip side, you didn't need to have a degree. You needed to just have the basic sciences. So here I was, 26, 27 years old, 2 undergraduate degrees, hadn't been in high school since I was 18, 8 years ago, and I had to take chemistry, organic chemistry, and physics, and English. It was just a nightmare. I wanted to poke my eyes out. And so these were all the hoops that I jumped through, because I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And that's another big valuable lesson. What is it that you really want to do, that you're passionate about? And so it wasn't until I graduated, I had adrenal fatigue myself, I was frustrated, and I wasn't getting any better, and I started to learn and research about this, that it was what was upstream from that. You guys, let me see what you wrote down here, if you wrote anything. What was upstream from this? None of you said anything. Intravenous infusions. What's upstream from the cells is the energy. And I know that seems really weird, but if we said maybe the vibration, or better yet, we said the frequency. And would that be really weird? I mean, in science, we have chemistry, we have biology, or biochem in the body, and we also have physics. And if you look under the microscope on a table, you don't see physics. You see, it's a bunch of molecules that are vibrating together, and that's a frequency, and that's a vibration, frequency and vibration. And so that's upstream from all of that. And if your vibration and frequency is off, your cells, your tissues, your organs, your systems are off. And a lot of you, your vibration is off. I talk to you guys, and I was you guys. And you have every reason to be justified in being pissed off, being upset, being depressed, being hopeless, because you're not getting a lot of support. You're being told that there's nothing wrong. But I also hear about everything I do doesn't work. Why do I have to do that? I can't do that. It's not fair. And that's a vibration that is off. That's a vibration that's not working properly. And everything is going to come from that. And so if that vibration and frequency is off, then everything downstream is going to be off. So there needs to be a harmonizing impact. There's 2 ways of looking at things. You can look at it as it's not fair, or you can look at it as, okay, it is what it is, now I have to get better. And yes, it's not easy, it's a struggle, but it's worth it, because ultimately you need to have that before anything else. You really do. And you need to be aware of your words, your actions, your behaviors, because they all reflect that. So let me finish the circle here. So what is downstream from systems? We have frequency, vibration, and by the way, that's where Eastern medicine came from homeopathy and acupuncture. That's been around for hundreds of years prior to Western medicine. And so what do you think homeopathy and vaccinations come from? They come from frequencies and vibrations and wavelengths of similar illnesses or pathogens that your body inherently knows how to align with and to heal on its own. But that's woo-woo. It's all weird. Now, that's not to say you just need good frequency and vibration and everything's going to be fixed. It's not to say that. You have to look at genetic components. You have to look at not just a saliva test or not just a blood test, but a urine test also. You need to look at toxins and pathogens. You need to look at a person's diet on a day-to-day basis. Talk to a lot of you guys, and you're not drinking any water. You're eating at 7-Eleven. You're doing a lot of stuff that ultimately is not real food. There's no frequency and energy in that food. There's no frequency and vibration in your supplements. I mean, it has to be real food. I mean, it's weird to be an organic person back in the day, but now it's not so weird because it's real, live, sourced, breathing frequency food that's going to resonate with your cells. So coming back down to here, what is downstream from systems? So you have frequency, vibration, and or energy, cells, tissues, organs, systems. What's downstream from that? Downstream from that is he single? I'm not, I am married. Downstream from there is frequency again. So this rounds out the circle. So if you don't know what it is that you want, which a lot of you don't, I ask you, hey, if we got better, what would it look like? Nah, I don't really know. I just would feel a little bit more, just looking for a little bit more energy. No, bullshit. Excuse my language. You're looking for more. You're looking for transformation. You're looking for the life that you deserve. You're looking for impact and passion and meaning. And you're looking to get back into the game. You're looking to travel. You're looking to feel great. You're looking to have deep, meaningful relationships. And most of you are looking to give back and help other people. You need to be crystal clear on that because that too is a frequency and vibration. And if you don't know what that frequency and vibration is, it's like going in a time machine and not punching any coordinates because you're sort of in the sea bouncing around, not looking for anything to go for. And so what I would tell you is this, is you've seen those commercials where the opera singer, she sings and there's a glass there and she breaks the glass with her voice. And the reason she does is because that is called resonance. And when you have two frequencies that are aligned, that are on the same page, that's where you have the most power. And so you need to align your frequency with where you want to go. And that's the secret. If you don't do that, and you don't start with the end in mind, and you don't start where you actually feel what it feels like, where were you when you best felt great? What did it feel like? What would it feel like if you got up in the morning and you didn't have the pain in your knee and you felt like you had unbounding energy and you felt useful and you felt focused and you felt energetic and you felt rested and revived? What would that feel like? Because you don't know what it feels like anymore and your body doesn't know where to aim for. It doesn't know resonance. The only resonance it knows is that really low frequency of I'm in pain, I don't feel good, it's not fair, I've been wronged. And guess what? You have. No one's saying you're wrong, but you have been wronged, but that's not solution mode. It's really not. And so that resonance needs to be achieved. And it's not just, like I said, rainbows and lollipops. It's about doing the proper testing. I'm starting with someone and they want to do a cleanse. And, a cleanse to me is drinking more water every day. And a cleanse to me is having good solid routines and waking up in the morning and being grateful that you have two legs and that you have a family and you have a house. And even if it's not the greatest, you could be in, Somalia. Not to say Somalia is a terrible country, but they don't have a lot of privileges. A lot of people don't live in houses that have running water. You could be in Afghanistan. You could be in jail. You could be in the hospital. You could be in the morgue. I mean, you could be a lot of different places than when you are now. And so that gratitude needs to be there. The other thing that needs to be there is you need to celebrate what you're doing. A lot of you guys kick butt. I mean, you really do. And you persevere, and yet you don't recognize those things. You don't recognize, oh my goodness, like a year ago, I was in bed. Now I'm like at least sitting up. Or, last week I was, exhausted if I got off the couch. But today I can actually get in the car and go for a drive. I mean, you need to hone in on those things, because that's a frequency that's continually moving towards where you want to go. And if your antenna is up to the frequency of where you don't want to go, your body is just seeing those things. And that's where the psychology degree actually came in use, because I thought, what a waste of time. But then I thought, wow, how grateful am I that I actually did the psychology, because that's the missing link. The specialists don't talk to each other. The body talks to all the systems in the body, and the doctors don't talk to the rest of the body. And you really need to have your respiratory system working, your genitourinary system working, your digestive system working, your immune system working. You need to have all those systems working. Actually, a really good article I read the other day was talking about the Framingham study, and talking about the one major variable that was responsible for longevity, and it was called vital capacity. And what that vital capacity means is you take a deep breath in and you expel as much air as you can. And the people that had the longest expelling time, or their vital capacity, had the longest age longevity. Now, why would that be? That's because they're getting oxygen. They're getting oxygen to their cells. They're generating ATP. So there is a biochemistry to this. I mean, Krebs cycle 101, electron transport change 101, genetic, susceptibilities. Most of you guys have that perfect storm of just crazy stressors that no one should ever have to go through, between post-traumatic stuff to childhood abuses to to medications, to molds in the house, to a major trauma, to to a job that's not fulfilling, to hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, to children that are ungrateful, to spouses that don't really give you support, to a major illness, and to the fact that your mom had a genetic predisposition. There was autoimmunity in the family. I have manic depression and Alzheimer's in the family, and alcoholism in the family. Am I an alcoholic? No. I don't remember the last time I drank. And do I want to have Alzheimer's? No. And do I have manic depression? I probably battle a little bit, but here's the thing. If you control your environment, and you control your energy and frequency and your cells and your tissues and your organs and your systems, and then come back down to your frequency, it doesn't have to express itself. And that's the real lesson. So I hopefully you found that really informative, because that really is the reason why you haven't fixed it. It really is. And I mean, I don't know what else to say, but watch this video over and over and over again. Now, that means you have to do the right testing. I'm, looking at just the blood test for your hormones is very problematic. I can't tell you how many times I'll do a blood test on someone, and then I look at their urine test, and their blood values are low, and their urine values are off the charts. And then the primary care doctor, who doesn't understand, functional medicine and hormones, will give you more prescriptions for hormones, let alone synthetic ones. And it's just like yelling at a deaf person louder. When you check their urine, there's even more hormones coming out on their urine that's not being utilized. And that's because there's a lot of free radicals, liver's congested, you're not detoxing properly, you're not absorbing nutrients, you're not balancing your glucose, you're not repairing your tissues. There's a lot of crap that's going wrong, and you're not going to fix it if you don't see the proper tools being used that you need to fix it. So lots going on there. I see that there's a lot of questions, so let me see if I can answer that, and then I got to run. Thank you for sharing. I can really relate. Good. I'm glad. I mean, I'm not just I don't just try to do this because of non-understanding. I mean, that's really why I'm passionate about it, because I know what it's like to be exhausted. Thank you for your time and being relatable. Thank you, Kristen. Great share. Thank you, Colleen. You are a rock star, Dr. Rosen. You are sharing info that no one else is. Thank you very much. Test Mac, my doc fixed mine. Awesome. I'm glad that happened. Intravenous infusions. Well, then that's great because you weren't absorbing a lot of nutrients, but that may not fix the vibration and the frequency. It's like a millionaire. This kid in Florida, he won what, $250 million. I'm curious to know how much that lasts for. I hope it does his whole lifetime, but you see a lot of people that make millions and millions of dollars, and then they only lose it because they didn't have the fundamentals there. So I hope, Tess, that you don't get sort of a fool's gold of the intravenous infusions fixed your immune system and addressed your liver and your toxic burden and your cell membrane breakdown and your organic acid and your neurotransmitter imbalances. Hopefully you understand the mechanics of all of that. Kathy Weiss, food. Yeah, food is not upstream, but food kind of is, because it is a frequency and vibration. Tammy, only have been here a few weeks and have been learning so much. Thank you for all your information for all of humanity. See more. I don't think I can do the see more. I haven't figured that out. Tammy, blessings of love. Thank you very much. Vicky, first thing to do to heal. First thing to do to heal is what I've said, is to reduce your stress footprint, and to less is more, and to breathe oxygen. And that's really, seems so fundamental and boring. Eat real food and take time out for yourself and say no and get into parasympathetic mode and unplug your phone and sit down with your feet on the ground and eat a meal properly that's been properly prepared and hasn't been added with chemicals and pollutants and fried. And I mean, really, it's to take stock of the ruinous things that we do, that we were really taught that less is more. A lot of the times, it's easy to see the mistakes that are happening. Yes, you can't be perfect all of the time, but geez Louise, you can really do a lot more things than what you're doing right now. And I'm sure if I came and just sort of scrutinized what it is that you do on a daily basis in a loving way, I would tell you, hey, there's some things that need to get better. I mean, are you drinking enough water on a daily basis? Are you getting good nutrients? Are you reaffirming to yourself that you're meaningful and you're valuable and that you're awesome and that you're grateful? And I mean, really changing your vibration is really the first thing that you can do. Vicky, finally diagnosed a while ago. So do you have a test for that? I don't know which one, Linda. There are outcome tests that we do, though, for assessing your brain health. Is he single? That's cute. Thanks, Adriana. Heather Resch, you're going to make me cry. Why? Because it's good, but you are so right. I have experienced healing with energy medicine. Truly amazing. Good stuff. I'm in my teenage years. Count my blessings and thank the man above every day. Good, exactly. What else do we have here? When my thyroid took a turn and found nodules on it is when I bottom out and so aggravated because doctors keep telling me there's nothing wrong. I was very outgoing with energy, and then some last 7 years I have been, and it doesn't say anything else. But anyways, I hope you guys found that informative and helpful, and I'm here to support you guys. And yes, there is a solution to all of this. It's a little bit messy, but simplifying it makes it a lot easier. So anyways, have a great evening, and I look forward to helping you in your adrenal fatigue nightmare.